Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 9th round of the 2020 NOSSCAR GT Cup Series season. Tonight we are under the lights for a short track racing at the High Banks and Northern-Isle Speedway. Championship leader Trent Krentz has won 5 races in a row. However, tonight is not his discipline of racing and could throw a huge gear in the championship fight between he, Pac-Man, and Bill Baldwin. We will see what happens with that championship fight tonight at Northern-Isle. This track requires not much explanation, no introduction, heavily inspired by the Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee. This NASCAR, stock car, oval style track, high banks, short track racing is going to give us a lot of action here tonight in this hour-long endurance event. We hope you enjoy the event, and let's get to the starting grid. Taking his first career pole position in the NOSSCAR GT Cup Series is Jesse Carlson. Jesse looked like an early race favorite earlier in the year at the other oval race, Blue Moon Bay Speedway, however slowly fell out of the front group and had to settle for a 6th place. He has a really strong oval racing background in NOSSCAR, and it has really shown itself in qualifying. We'll see if he can stay up front tonight for the entire race. Starting in second is Sikkim Boy in the Porsche 911. His first career start in the series, and he's going to start in just 2nd place on a short track. On an oval, qualifying doesn't matter too much, but it's always better to start up front than have to fight through the field. Sikkim Boy in his first career start, starting in 2nd. JRB, the man who finished in a photo finish 2nd place at Blue Moon Bay Speedway earlier in the year, he will start in 3rd in the Toyota FT1, the highest of the Toyotas, which is the first time this year it hasn't been on pole. First time this year hasn't even been 2nd. Toyota not having a good qualifying session. JRB carrying that Toyota into the top 5 to start 3rd on the grid. Starting in 4th in the Chevy Corvette, another man making his first career start, Chil Khalil, will start 4th in his first ever start outside 2nd row. We'll see what he can do from 4th place. 3rd in the championship, Bill Baldwin starts way back in 5th in the Toyota FT1. He, earlier this year, finished 3rd at Blue Moon Bay Speedway, and we'll see if he can fight his way back up to the podium. He is the best starting out of the entire top 3 in points, all the way down in 5th. We'll see if he can continue his 100% podium rate this season by fighting up through the pack. Pac-Man starts right behind his championship competitor. He starts 6th in the Toyota FT1. He also is looking to rebound after a tough couple weeks in recent memory. We'll see if he can get onto the podium as well from 6th on the grid. Rob Oglesby starts in 7th after a long hiatus this season in his Hyundai Genesis. We'll see what Rob, with a really strong oval background, what he can do from way back in 7th on the grid. Championship leader Trent Krentz in very unfamiliar territory, starting way back in 8th. He's not the strongest oval racer. Blue Moon Bay finished 7th, so starting 8th, he has a task at hand in his Toyota Supra. Starting right behind him is the other Toyota Supra, Justin Harrington, who took a week off in Germany. We welcome him back here at Northern-Isle. He also has an oval racing background, so we can see what he can do from 9th on the grid. Percussive starts 10th in the Toyota FT1. The Toyotas, for once this season, very spread out. And Percussive, who has been top 5 all season, tonight looked like a strong chance for him to get onto that podium finally, but from 10th on the grid, it's going to have to be a very good drive for Percussive. Thomas Gayer, oval background in the Ford Mustang, probably the best car for oval racing on paper, starting way back in 11th. We'll see what he can do here on the short track at Northern-Isle. Rob Lohman Sr., oval background as well. A lot of these guys have oval backgrounds. He's starting 12th in the Chevy Corvette. We'll see if he can find his way into the top 10, maybe even the top 5 for an impressive drive. Ataxia starting way back in 13th in the Nissan GTR. He's had a very quiet yet very solid start to his career over the last couple weeks. We'll see if he can fight his way back into the top 10 tonight. That's your starting grid for the Northern-Isle Grand Prix. Short track racing on the high banks of Northern-Isle. We will get down to the green flag. For the first time in his NOSSCAR GT Cup Series career, it will be Jesse Carlson leading the field to green flag in the Jimmy Johnson-inspired throwback 48 Corvette. Green flag at Northern-Isle for short track racing. It's going to be a high-action race, and I'm going to have a hard time keeping up with it all, but I'll do my best, as already they complete a lap. Such fast laps here at Northern-Isle, just 16 seconds once they get up to full speed. Jesse Carlson leads the field through the first lap. Right behind him, he has Sickenboy in the number 51 Porsche 911. Gorgeous paint scheme. Cold Trickle Days of Thunder inspired scheme. Behind him's JRB running in third with Chill Khalil fourth. Looks like so far everybody's going to maintain position. Once they start to get real racy, it's going to be very action-packed. Somebody's already fallen off the track. That's going to be Rob Lemon Sr. He's on the inside of, I believe, turn 3. Probably out of the race already, unfortunately for Rob Lemon Sr., who has a really good oval background in NOSSCAR. Back up front, Jesse Carlson under attack from Sickenboy in the 51 Porsche. We'll see how the different lines carry more momentum. Jesse running a lot lower than Sickenboy is running. And of course, that's a shorter way around the track, but Sickenboy is going to carry a lot of momentum. If Sickenboy can stay close enough, he could definitely get to the outside of Jesse Carlson down a straightaway and can have a shot at the lead. Behind them, JRB has Chill Khalil right on his back bumper. Two experienced drivers with two first starters on their back bumper. First and third, the experienced. Second place, Sickenboy going to the inside of Jesse Carlson. Sickenboy in his first career start trying to take down Jesse Carlson for the lead. 7 laps into the Northern-Isle Grand Prix. Looks like we have another wrecker on the back straightaway. We'll see who it is in just a second as they fly by him. Maybe not. But we already have 2 cars having a very tough start to this race. Up front, these two going at it. Sickenboy's going to send it down the inside. Jesse Carlson's going to try to get the crossover down the back straightaway. But it looks like Sickenboy's going to make the move stick for the lead at Northern-Isle. Start lap 10. Jesse Carlson drops from pole position back to second. 9 laps into the event. Sickenboy will lead that lap. But now Jesse Carlson back to the inside for turn 3. They got Justin Harrington on the inside going a lap down. He was the one that wrecked earlier that I mentioned. And Justin Harrington is going to ghost, but is definitely going to be a distraction between these cars who are battling side by side down the back straightaway. Between the 2 leaders, Jesse Carlson on the inside in the 48 Corvette, and Sickenboy in the 51 Porsche. Still side by side. Jesse's now going to pull back in down the front straightaway, but he's going to send it to the inside again into 1 and 2. Meanwhile, through all this, Chill Khalil and JRB in 3rd and 4th are going to close up to this lead battle. Jesse Carlson running all the way down to the apron while Sickenboy runs about the middle groove. Through 1 and 2, they each go up a groove. And Jesse just trying to get that momentum to get alongside. Down the back straightaway, Sickenboy hits the outside wall. And that's going to give Jesse the push he needs to get to the lead. Jesse clears Sickenboy out of turn 4. And Sickem will not have a shot to go down the inside into 1 and 2. Now JRB going to have a shot at Sickenboy for 2nd place. Down the back straightaway. Lap traffic in the way. And JRB, will he clear Sickenboy out of turn 4? Doesn't look like it. They're going to stay side by side behind the leader for 2nd and 3rd. And now here comes Chill Khalil to make it 3 wide. 3 wide out of turn 2 on lap 15 at Northern-Isle. JRB through the middle. Looks like he's going to take that 2nd spot. Maybe not. Sickenboy in the wall. And JRB finally gets the move to stick. Can Sickenboy keep up the momentum around the outside? Doesn't look like it. So Sickenboy, in just a matter of a couple laps, is going to go from 1st to 3rd and now under attack from 4th. Chill Khalil, the 2 guys in their first start, going at it for the final podium spot. Behind them is Bill Baldwin and Pac-Man, 3rd and 2nd in the championship respectively. They run at the tail end of the top 5, battling for that last top 5 spot. Meanwhile, the rest of the field has really dropped back. Percussive on back, about half a lap behind. We'll take a peek at them. Percussive starting lap 18 now as the leaders go into turn 3. Percussive has Rob Oglesby, Trent Krentz, Thomas Gayer, Ataxia behind him. And then a couple laps down each are Justin Harrington and Rob Lemon Sr., who each had incidents early on. Here's Jesse Carlson under attack from JRB. JRB is a race winner in this series. Jesse Carlson yet to score a podium. Down the inside goes JRB into turn 1, and he's going to get the move to stick. Maybe. It's going to be a slide job. Crossover from Jesse. Here comes Chill Khalil. Will Chill go for the move to make it 3 wide? He'll stay behind Jesse. Corvette teammates on the inside. Hendrick-inspired paint schemes. And JRB with the momentum on the outside is going to keep the lead. And he's going to lead lap 20. Down the back straightaway on lap 21. JRB with the lead from third on the grid. Has worked his way up past the 2 leaders. Second Boy has dropped back to 4th. Quite a way back now under attack from Bill Baldwin. Jesse Carlson, pole sitter, trying to hunt down JRB for the lead yet again. But he's got Joe Khalil now going down his inside into turn 3. Maybe a little bit of contact there. And it looks like Joe Khalil's going to make that move stick for second place. 5.5 minutes into the event, 23.5 laps in. And so much action already up front. Joe Khalil running so high through 3 and 4. Jesse Carlson to his inside. Contact down the front straightaway. And it looks like Joe Khalil's going to hit the wall and Jesse's going to take second place back. Schultz is going to get the crossover, though. It has a lot of momentum out of turn 2. And into 3 and 4. Another crossover through 3 and 4. Joe Khalil back up to the outside. Jesse back to the inside. Into 1 and 2 yet again. Second and third. Side by side. Joe Khalil on the outside. Jesse Carlson on the inside. Through turns 1 and 2. Looks like Jesse's finally going to clear Chill. And the Corvette teammates, will they calm down? Doesn't look like it. Here comes Chill trying to carry the momentum from the outside out of turn 4 onto the inside of turn 1, but I don't think he's going to get it to stick this time around. All the way on the apron is Joe Khalil. Meanwhile, JRB, the race leader, is in. Bill Baldwin is in. Pac-Man is in. So just 25, 26 laps into the event. Already the first stops of the night. Joe Khalil will take the race lead as the leaders pit. Jesse Carlson runs second, and I'm sure with how quick these laps are, how short the pit lane's going to be, having that track position going into the pits is going to be very important. Jesse Carlson probably going to be highly aggressive entering the pit lane to get around Chill. Looks like Chill's going to go into the pits now on lap 28. That was your race leader. Jesse Carlson's going to stay out. The young man with so much oval experience who started on pole dropped back to third before this pit cycle started. We'll see if he can run some hot laps and take the lead back. Pac-Man has jumped JRB through the pits, so he technically has the net race lead as they head into 1 and 2. Sick'em Boy finally hits his pit stop, and Jesse Carlson's still out on lap 30. We'll start lap 31. He has Rob Oglesby coming in for his first stop. He was running second, definitely a net further back. JRB going down the inside of Pac-Man for the net race lead, I believe. Just depends where Jesse comes out. Side by side for second and third on track. JRB not going to go down the inside of Pac-Man, but this very easily could be for the race lead here on lap 30. 2 Toyota FT1s who started further down the field than we usually see them. Much further down the field. It looks like JRB's going to clear Pac-Man down the front straightaway. And they got Bill Baldwin right behind them. Pac-Man right on the back bumper of JRB down the back straightaway into 3 and 4. He's going to try to get the momentum out of the turn 4. Jesse Carlson has hit the pits for his first stop of the night. We will have to keep an eye on where he comes out in regards to this battle, because this is the battle for the lead, we believe. Looks like Jesse is still in his box as the leaders go by the front straightaway. Jesse's going to come out far behind him. And JRB will take the race lead. Jesse Carlson with a really long pit stop. I believe he took a lot of fuel, and that is why. JRB in the lead now with Pac-Man and Bill Baldwin right behind him. The Wood Brothers inspired paint schemes looking to take the lead at the NASCAR-inspired track. Working together almost on the apron, on the inside in 1 and 2, now into 3 and 4. JRB running the highest groove possible. Pac-Man trying to take a peek a little lower, and now Bill Baldwin's going to take a peek on the inside of Pac-Man into 1 and 2. Bill Baldwin is going to take second place, just take second place in front of Pac-Man. JRB running the high side still through 3 and 4. He has barely left that groove. And just as I say that, through 1 and 2, runs the bottom to block off any attacks. Now Pac-Man going back down the inside of his teammate. Bill Baldwin, second, is going to swipe down to the bottom and try to get alongside JRB. Down the front straightaway, they're going to be side by side for the lead. But JRB's going to hold it. They fan out just a little bit. JRB has about a car length, maybe 2, through 3 and 4. Bill Baldwin swiping down to the bottom. And it's going to calm down for just a second. And just as I say that, Bill Baldwin with a lot of momentum out of turn 2, got a great run. He's going to stay in the slipstream through 3, swoop down for 4, try to get alongside the leader. Can't quite do it, but he's probably going to go for a dive into 1. No, he's not. But he's going to try to get the crossover as JRB stays high through turn 2. Bill Baldwin's going to try to get alongside him into 3. No, but JRB runs the middle high line through 3 and 4. That's a different line than we usually see him. Bill stayed high through 3 and 4. That's going to give him the momentum into 1 and 2. Now side by side down the back straightaway. No, Bill's going to slide back in. Bill getting so antsy for that top spot. You can tell how bad he wants it with how aggressive he's getting on that peak down the inside. He's just not close enough to go for a safe move. JRB really washed up out of 2 there, but Bill is going to have to stay in second. Lap traffic definitely being a distraction here as they head down the front straightaway to start lap 43 already. 10.5 minutes into this event. So much already has happened. Jesse Carlson, who started on pole and looked like he had a long pit stop. He fell all the way back to 5th, but he is in front of Chill Khalil, who technically pit in front of him. So, very interesting there for Jesse Carlson, who seems to be running an alternate strategy with more fuel. Percussive runs 4th behind these 3 leaders you see on the screen right now. JRB, Bill Baldwin, and Pac-Man. Bill Baldwin and Pac-Man 3rd and 2nd in the championship respectively. JRB running a part-time schedule and just coming out to win the races. Championship leader Trent Krentz, who's not the best oval racer, running all the way back in 8th. That's really going to hurt his championship. So much lap traffic to deal with. These NOSSCAR GT Cup Series drivers have got to be so happy that Gran Turismo has a ghosting system for the lap cars, because if not, there would be so much more trouble on the track. There you see championship leader Trent Krentz about to go a lap down to JRB as they head through 3 and 4 to start lap 48. Things have definitely calmed down a little bit. Bill Baldwin has dropped back just a little smidge from JRB for the race lead. And will likely try to close back up as we're definitely getting very close to the pit cycles. There's about 25 to 30 laps for the first pit stops. And we're hitting about lap 50 right now. So pit stops should start within the next couple laps. These 3 were the earliest pitters on the last pit cycle. I believe they were the first 3 to come in. So we'll see if they're the first 3 to come in this time around as well. JRB hits the wall at turn 4, and that's going to send Bill Baldwin to the inside. And looks like Bill Baldwin's going to clear him through 1 and 2. Can JRB get the momentum down the back straightaway into 3 and 4? He's not going to go for the dive, and Bill has him cleared. And Bill Baldwin takes the race lead at Northern-Isle. Bill still searching for that first victory of the season. And in a wild card race like this is definitely his best opportunity. And now you see your front 3 come into pit. Pac-Man flies in the pits and pulls in far in front of JRB, who is very cautious entering the pits. Here comes Percussive, who is running 4th. Jesse Carlson is going to stay out. We expected that. He had more fuel than basically anyone else. Cho Khalil stays out. He stayed out longer than everyone else. And Sicken Boy started 2nd. He runs 3rd now as he stays out. Rob Oglesby runs 4th in the Hyundai. Thomas Gayer in the Ford Mustang. Is he going to pass any of these guys? Doesn't look like it. So that's the gap that front 3 had on most of the field. Almost a full stop ahead of anybody outside really the top 6 or 7. JRB drops back to 7th. Percussive 8th. So anybody behind Percussive is going to need some luck to catch back up to maybe having a shot at even maybe a top 5. Back up front, though, Jesse Carlson resumes leading the race after losing it during the pit cycle. And you see there JRB, who is battling for the lead before the pit cycle, a lap down, maybe even 2. Not sure how many laps he loses during a pit stop. But he is a lap down just in front of the actual race leader. But JRB is actually quite far behind Pac-Man and Bill Baldwin. Pac-Man again jumps Bill Baldwin in the pit stops, and he is going to take the race lead. The net race lead, at least. Sicken Boy now runs 2nd after Cho Khalil came in. So Sicken Boy takes 2nd place back in the gorgeous mellow yellow 51 Porsche. One of the nicest schemes you'll see all night. Here's another nice scheme heading into the pits. That's the race leader, Jesse Carlson, for his 2nd stop. Almost about 7 or 8 laps later than anyone else. Here's Pac-Man, the net race leader. Sicken Boy's going to stay out another lap. He's stretching it out, following Jesse Carlson's strategy. Rob Oglesby's in as well for his 2nd stop. He was running about the tail end of the top 5, I believe. And here's Sicken Boy for his 2nd stop. A lot of scratches on that Porsche. And here's Pac-Man, who will take the lead back very shortly. As a matter of fact, according to the timesheets, he has taken the lead back. And there's Bill Baldwin, almost an entire straightaway behind, running 2nd. So things spreading out a little bit now. And I can catch my breath. Percussive back to 4th. Jesse Carlson 5th. Not too far behind Percussive. Jesse Carlson, I believe, definitely running a different strategy than anybody in front of him. Chill Khalil in 6th. Not sure about his strategy. Thomas Gayer 7th, just behind Chill. Second Boy 8th. Lap down, actually. So the top 7 on the lead lap. No, I take that back. 7th place, Thomas Gayer is a lap down. Chill Khalil just recently went a lap down. So Jesse Carlson in 5th is the last car on the lead lap. And he is on the offensive on the back end of Percussive's Toyota. In a 1 and 2. Does he go for the move? No, he's going to stay in his slipstream. Jesse Carlson obviously running an alternative strategy with fuel. He could be running in that slipstream to save even more fuel and really stretch out these stints. Percussive weaving all over the front straightaway. This is the battle for 4th and 5th. Jesse Carlson staying behind Percussive. No matter what track, no matter what week, these two always find each other and always give us a really good battle to watch. Jesse taking a peek on the lower lane. Percussive's going to block him off out of turn 2. Corvette versus Toyota FT1. Now Jesse alongside him. Down the front straightaway. And it looks like Jesse might clear him on the bottom. He's going to go for the slide job. But Percussive keeps the momentum on the outside. Great driving from both drivers. And Percussive's actually going to clear Jesse into 3 and 4. But back down the front stretch, Jesse gets the momentum out of 3 and 4. And he's going to take 4th place from Percussive. Can Percussive get the crossover into 3? Doesn't look like it. Jesse Carlson makes a nice move. Worked on it for a couple laps, but finally gets around Percussive for 4th place. Way up the track, about the entire back straightaway ahead is JRB in 3rd, who's got about a whole straightaway up to Bill Baldwin in 2nd, who is half a turn behind race leader Pac-Man. 2nd and 3rd in the championship, running 1st and 2nd in the race, as championship leader Trent Krentz way back in 10th. So this is a huge race for the championship. Trent Krentz, who has pulled away every week for the last 5 weeks with 5 wins in a row. It's going to take a miracle if he wants to make it 6. Pac-Man, who won the first 3 events of the season, still trying to find that 4th win on the year. And in a wild card race like this, especially with Trent Krentz having such a bad night already, this is a great opportunity to jump at. Bill Baldwin, more of the same from him. These two really going to be gunning for the race win tonight to take advantage of the point gain that they can get on Trenton in the championship lead. Bill Baldwin definitely very hungry for finally getting a race win this year. Still yet to get one. The reigning championship runner-up has not won a race this year. He has been on the podium every week, but not that top step. So we'll see if he can track down Toyota FT1 teammate Pac-Man, running twin schemes, 19 and 21. Running 1st and 2nd. Here's JRB running 3rd in another Toyota FT1. They didn't qualify well, but now they're running great. A Toyota podium lockout. It's been all Toyotas on the podium every week so far. And for the last 6 weeks, it's been Pac-Man, Bill Baldwin, and Trenton Krentz. It looks like that pattern's going to be broken up, but as it stands, it's still going to be all Toyotas. Percussive has gotten back around Jesse Carlson, by the way, for 4th. We missed that, but that battle is not over. Jesse Carlson back to the inside of Percussive. Right where we left him off. Jesse can't get the momentum. Was very nice Percussive there coming out of turn 2. Now through 3 and 4. Jesse's dropped back a little bit, about a car length between the two. Again, coming up to probably the next pit cycle. Already about to have 3 stops. Yes, Bill Baldwin and Pac-Man, your 2 race leaders in. JRB in from 3rd. Percussive running 4th, probably on the same strategy. No, he's going to stay out and try to stay ahead of Jesse Carlson. Very interesting call there from Percussive. 3 stops already, just 20 minutes in. It's going to be so many pit stops tonight, and it's going to be wild. Show Khalil is going to move up to 3rd. Second Boy's going to move him up to 4th. With Bill Baldwin, JRB, and Pac-Man all coming in. That was your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place cars. Now dropping back to 6th, 7th, and 8th. But in what order? Pac-Man Leaderboard's having a bit of an issue here. Pac-Man is going to run in third. Sick'em Boy between Pac-Man and Bill Baldwin. JRB is going to stay in seventh. So Pac-Man has gapped Bill Baldwin just a little bit, maybe. Bill Baldwin had to get around Sick'em Boy, so that might have helped out Pac-Man a little bit. Now, Jesse Carlson, who is up in the lead with Percussive, those two have pit. Joe Khalil stays out, and he now takes the race lead. There's Jesse Carlson leaving the pits. He runs fifth, and he has really jumped Percussive in the pits. Wow. Very interesting. Percussive was just in front of Jesse when we last saw him, and Percussive now far behind Jesse Carlson. About half a lap. Percussive might have had an issue. And Jesse Carlson's got around JRB. And now he is up into the podium positions. Jesse Carlson out of nowhere just a few laps ago was fifth. Now in third with a gap back to fourth. Percussive definitely had some sort of issue. He's back in seventh. Pac-Man, however, stays in the race lead. Bill Baldwin stays in second with the big shakeup behind him with Jesse Carlson moving up to third. Earlier this year at Blue Moon Bay, Jesse Carlson put on a clinic and absolutely had a podium car, maybe even a race-winning drive, but through the pit stops just fell out of the front pack and couldn't even get a top five. Definitely looking for oval track redemption tonight. And right now running in a very convincing third place. That redemption definitely within sight. Pac-Man leading the way now on lap 88. Already, just 22 minutes in. Will probably be north of 200 laps, to be honest. Probably easily north of 200 laps. So it'll be interesting to see how many miles these guys do in this event. But right now, Pac-Man, not caring anything about that race lead that he has had, by his standards, a tough couple of weeks. And has really, really wanted to get back to that top step of the podium. And right now, it is within sight. Bill Baldwin just behind him in second place, still so hungry for his first win of the season. And Jesse Carlson, looking for his first ever podium, runs in third. JRB fourth, somehow fell back to fourth. We missed whatever happened between him and Jesse. When I saw Jesse leave the pits, he was fifth. So I would think he got around JRB, but I'm not sure. Sick'em Boy, by the way, is up to fifth because of Percussive having an issue of his own at some point. And right there, that's a big issue. Percussive hard in the outside wall. And he's about to go a lap down to Pac-Man. So Percussive, who at one point was running in fourth, now a distant sixth place. Joe Khalil, the man in making his first start, who started fourth, he runs seventh. Rob Oglesby runs eighth. In his return to the series, championship leader Trenton Krentz just trying to have damage limitation here at an oval track. Finished seventh at Blue Moon Bay, just not his type of circuit, not his discipline. And just trying to get whatever he can here out of this Northern-Isle Grand Prix. Thomas Gayer running 10th. He's got an oval background. However, he's running a very distant 10th place. Ataxia running 11th. We typically see him just outside the top 5, but right now he's outside the top 10. So we'll see if he can fight his way back up in this next 35 minutes of the event. Justin Harrington, a man who was really confident in his ability coming into this race, having a really strong understanding of oval racing, having a terrible night, and Rob Lohman Sr. had a big accident earlier on and just pulled over for a couple laps. He's 15 laps down. That's Rob Lohman Sr. in the 43 Corvette. So he's just running laps at this point. Back up front, just behind Rob Lohman Sr., is Pac-Man in the lead, putting Percussive in 5th, a lap down. I believe Joe Khalil just went in for a stop, so that's why Percussive advanced up to 5th. Actually, I take that back. Somebody else pit, I think. I'm a terrible commentator. Just give me 1 second. I believe Sicken Boy came in. That's who it was. I've confused the two guys making their new starts. Chocolil and Sicken Boy, reminder, making their first career starts in the series. And what a night to do it on a short track event. Pac-Man leading the way in front of Bill Baldwin. We just hit the 100 lap mark, just past 25 minutes in. And Pac-Man from far down the grid, I believe he started 6th, has made his way up to 1st and has a very nice lead on Bill Baldwin. Jesse Carlson running not too far off in 3rd. But he's got some catching up to do if he wants to get with these two Toyota leaders. JRB running in 4th. At one point was the race leader and has just kind of fallen off over the last probably 50 laps. And here we see the leaders coming in for their 4th stop, 26 minutes in. Bill Baldwin, JRB, Pac-Man, Percussive, all in. Jesse Carlson will take the race lead and try to put down some hot laps with the open track in front of him. Young man with so much oval experience in NOSSCAR. Anything from dirt racing to super speedway racing, he knows how to navigate these ovals. And that's why he's performed so well. I can't stress enough how good he was early on at Blue Moon Bay. And obviously taking pole position here at Northern-Isle tonight. He knows what he's doing. And earlier, I believe he pulled off some sort of strategy gamble. But with the red timer, does he have a penalty maybe? I'm not sure. I don't understand this game. Anyway, earlier, I believe I saw him add more fuel than anybody else. And that's why he fell off so much in the opening pit stop. But I might be mistaken on that. Here we see Chill Khalil yet to make his 4th stop. Now he goes in as he just got passed by Pac-Man, who's going to resume the race lead. Bill Baldwin still just out of reach in 2nd. And Jesse Carlson pulls back in 3rd. JRB is going to take his 4th place back. Rob Oglesby, I believe, yet to pit, runs 5th. Percussive, who just recently went a lap down, runs 6th. And that was basically your lead lap cars. 110 laps into this event, soon coming up on halfway. Yeah, we will definitely pass 200 laps. Looking probably at maybe 230 laps. If you want an estimate, if you keep track of the laps, it'll probably be about 230, probably even more than that, to be honest. Of course, something definitely foreign to oval racing, no cautions. Obviously, if you watch NASCAR, cautions out. Anybody even just hits the wall, they throw a yellow, everybody slows down for 5 laps, waste a bunch of time, and that's why those races take so long. But here in the GT Cup Series, basically, aside from 2 races, all road course races, there's no full course yellows. So this will be a full speed race all the way through. So you make one mistake, you're going to lose a lot of time. Pac-Man has Bill Baldwin definitely gaining on him. The gap has definitely closed over the last few laps. Bill might be within slipstream range now. So we hit lap 115. Bill Baldwin in the 21 Toyota FT1 trying to track down Pac-Man in the number 19 Toyota FT1. Toyota 1-2, finally something not Toyota. The Chevy Corvette runs 3rd. Bill really pushing. You see him hit the wall there at a 4. But he is definitely gaining on your race leader. Bill drives it to the bottom to try to shorten the circuit. But Pac-Man running higher up is going to carry the momentum. That's what's so technical and so interesting about these oval circuits, especially the high banked ones, is there's the different lines you can run. You can run the very bottom along the apron, which is the shorter distance around the track, which always sounds good. But especially on a high bank track, you run higher up, then you carry the momentum down the hill as you come down the banking. And it just makes it very interesting. And if you can't make up your mind, you just run the middle. But somebody who's made up his mind about what he wants to do is Bill Baldwin. He wants that race lead. He's going to go down the inside of Pac-Man for the race lead here at Northern-Isle. Side by side down the back straightaway. Into 3 and 4. Bill Baldwin on the inside. All the way to the bottom of the track. Pac-Man scrapes the wall a little bit through 3 and 4. Still side by side. Through 1 and 2. Bill's going to not quite clear Pac-Man. Now he does as they enter 3 and 4. Pac-Man's not going to let him get away, though. These are so many championship points between two championship competitors, contenders for that championship trophy. Don't want to give each other an inch. We have just hit halfway here at Northern-Isle. Bill Baldwin leads Pac-Man, who is right on his back bumper. And if these two go at it, Jesse Carlson is right there as well. My favorite thing I think about this event is it is under the lights. I love night racing. It's my favorite thing in the world. Especially short track night racing. And that is exactly what we have. Might not be stock cars, but if anything, that makes it more interesting. You see there, Bill Baldwin runs a little higher through 3 and then swoops down through 4. That's a really good line to run if you're just trying to put down good lap times. But it does kill the tires, because that's you pushing your hardest and probably turning the most that you can. And, you know, the harder you turn, the more you're going to wear the tires. So Bill definitely putting down some hot laps, and you can tell that gap is growing. Meanwhile, the gap is shrinking between Pac-Man and Jesse Carlson, and this is now certainly a 3-horse race. Bill Baldwin putting down qualifying laps up front. Pac-Man running second, now has a mirror full of Jesse Carlson. 48 Ally Corvette. Jesse definitely closing up to Pac-Man. See Jesse running a similar line to what Bill is running. High through 1 and 3, and then swoop down through 2 and 4. Just a couple car lengths separate second and third place, and they are not far off from the lead. But if they go at it hard enough, Bill Baldwin could definitely just drive off. Pac-Man actually is going to come in now for, I believe, his 5th stop. Bill Baldwin also. I think this is everybody's 5th stop of the night that they're coming up to. Percussive in. So Bill Baldwin, Pac-Man, JRB, Percussive, Sick'em Boy, all in for their 5th stop of the night. Jesse Carlson will take the race lead. And if anything, that was the best time for Pac-Man to come in for Jesse. Jesse now, with an open track in front of him, can just put down some really good lap times and will likely jump Pac-Man with the overcut. We will see Jesse into pit. Bill Baldwin comes out just in front of Pac-Man. Pac-Man's pit crew the last couple of weeks has been on it. And thanks to that, he is right on the back bumper of Bill Baldwin once again. When they came in, there was a couple seconds between these two. Now it's a couple car lengths. Jesse Carlson coming in just a lap later. We will see where he comes out relative to these two. He's coming out of the pits now. As the leaders head through 1 and 2, they will jump Jesse. But Jesse, obviously on lap fresher tires, will likely close up as the stint goes on. And if these two go at it, that could open the door for Jesse. JRB still running 4th. Everything outside of the top 3 really has calmed down quite a bit. Percussive has moved back up to 5th. I believe it was Chill Khalil who is another car that was in the top 5. I believe something might have happened to him, and that's why Percussive is now in the top 5. Earlier, he was back to 6th. Regardless, here is the battle for the lead, and it is a battle. Door-to-door duel through turns 1 and 2. Pac-Man on the inside, Bill Baldwin on the outside. Second and third in the championship, trying to make the most of tonight as the championship leader, Trent Krentz, is having a tricky night. Pac-Man's going to have to yield, drops back to second. He's going to have to try to set up another move. If these two do this for a good number of laps, Jesse Carlson is going to be there to pounce. And that's one thing these two do not want to do, is come together and have a full-on crash, because they will lose so much time. And then there's no advantage gained on the fact that Trent Krentz is having a difficult night. See Bill Baldwin returning to that line I mentioned earlier, where he fans out through the first of the two corners and then drops low. And you see in the background there, Pac-Man mirroring that line. Pac-Man is going to stay higher through turn 2, though, as Bill goes low. And Jesse is closing. Top 3 cover him in a blanket. Here at Northern-Isle, there's not been a lap without action. Race leader and 3rd in the championship, Bill Baldwin, trying to make the most of tonight. He's pulling away from Pac-Man, who is 2nd in the championship, running 2nd. And Jesse Carlson, the man who has had a really solid rookie season, just hasn't gotten that first podium yet. Had a heartbreak last week as he was running in the top 5 and had to drop out with just a few minutes left. He now runs in the podium position and is definitely in this battle for the lead. Bill runs all the way up to the wall into turn 3, and then just cuts all the way back down to the apron in turn 4. Through turn 2, he's not as high, or sorry, turn 1, he's not as high as he is in 3. He's about a whole lane lower. There he hits the wall going into 1, and he's a lot higher than he was last time around. So Bill's line, it might kind of look all over the place, but sincerely, it is probably the fastest line around an oval track. At least one with banking like this. That is the line that drivers probably run in qualifying to carry the most amount of speed. And here we see at the bottom of the camera shot, now right in the middle of the camera shot, the battle for 2nd has heated up. As Bill Baldwin's pulled away, Pac-Man has fallen into the grasp of Jesse Carlson. Pole sitter Jesse Carlson going to the inside of Pac-Man, will fall back into line. Jesse Carlson, one of the most experienced oval racers in the series, trying to find a way around Pac-Man. Championship contender. Pac-Man runs very wide out of turn 2, and he's going to hit the wall, and that's going to open the door for Jesse into 3 and 4. Jesse Carlson to the inside. Side by side as they cross the stripe. Start lap 151. Pac-Man with the momentum on the high side is going to clear him into 1 and 2. And Jesse's going to have to pull back into 3rd. And Bill Baldwin's got to love seeing this in his rearview mirror. This is just going to hold these two drivers up, and Bill can just drive off into the sunset. Jesse really pushing on that back bumper of Pac-Man's Toyota. Trying to find any sort of momentum. There he goes into 1 and 2. Driving all the way to the bottom as Pac-Man, I think, hit the wall. And Jesse completely clears him on the exit of turn 2. Into 3 and 4. Jesse has cleared Pac-Man for 2nd place. Can Pac-Man get back at him? He's pushing. He hits the wall at 4. And I think Jesse can confidently say he now has 2nd place. Pit cycle has started. Rob Oglesby just coming for his 6th stop of the day. And we'll see when these leaders come in. But Bill Baldwin, just as I say that, Bill Baldwin comes in. Pac-Man comes in. Jesse Carlson's going to take the lead. He has yet to pit on the same lap as Bill and Pac-Man. And in the long run, that can definitely play in his favor. There goes Jesse into the pits. 1 lap after his closest competitors. JRB, who is running 4th, comes in. Percussive is in. Bill is out of the pits. He will likely take the race lead once he loops back around to pass Jesse, who's filling up with fuel as we speak. Bill Baldwin going to try to set a good outlap and maintain his gap back to 2nd. Question is, where Jesse Carlson actually has jumped in front of Bill Baldwin. He short pitted, and I believe that is the strategy I saw earlier. He put a lot of fuel in his car early on, and I believe the first stop, and that allowed him to short pit another stop, and with that, he takes the race lead in front of Bill Baldwin. If I'm right on that, that is an absolute strategy masterclass, and also I give some credit to myself for actually being right for once. Regardless, Jesse Carlson in the 48 Corvette has taken the race lead at Northern-Isle with less than 20 minutes to go. Granted, a lot can happen in 20 minutes at this track, but he has the race lead. Bill Baldwin runs second. JRB runs third. Pac-Man's dropped back to fourth. Quite a ways behind JRB. A whole set of corners behind. Pac-Man had a horrible pit stop, or maybe had an accident or something. But Pac-Man, who is once battling for the lead, has dropped back to fourth. I'm not sure if he had an accident or just a really, really long pit stop. But regardless, like I said, every second on this track matters. I mean, it's such a short lap. About 15, 16, 17 seconds. And drivers are going fast, too. So every second counts. So here's Percussive running fifth. He's got Sick'em Boy in sixth just behind him. This is a nice battle at the tail end of the top five. Sick'em Boy, obviously, in his first start of his career, seeing if he can find his way into the top five. Back up front, we will check back on this battle for the lead, which I believe has actually stretched out maybe a little bit. Not sure, actually. But you see there, in between race leader Jesse Carlson and second place Bill Baldwin is Trent Krentz, I think, going his second lap down now. No, he is maybe 3 or 4. 163 for Trent Krentz. Race leaders are on 166. So Trent Krentz, actually, your championship leader, 3 laps down. And 1, that goes to show how short laps are, because you can go so many laps down on this track. But 2, just shows this is not Trenton's type of circuit. He's got to be so happy that this is a road course dominant series. Jesse Carlson with Bill Baldwin in his mirror. Bill, not close enough really to apply any pressure, I wouldn't think. But 1 slip up from Jesse and Bill's going to be right there. And one thing I find interesting, when Bill Baldwin was leading earlier, he was running that sort of qualifying line that I kept talking about, where he ran wide through the first corner and then would swoop down low for the second corner. Jesse is just running the middle lane, which is also a good sort of middle ground between the top and bottom. One way to go is run high and then run low. That's obviously a decent middle ground. Just go for both. But another solid middle ground is the middle, obviously. And that's exactly what Jesse's running. He kind of swoops on this particular track. There's technically 4 lanes. They're obviously separated by the stripes, sort of like a highway. And Jesse, it alternates between the top middle and the bottom middle. And Bill Baldwin, we saw earlier, was at the very top against the wall, and then on exit would be right on the apron. So Jesse's line, nowhere near as, I don't want to say severe, but it's the only word that's really coming to mind, as Bill's line was. But we can definitely see the race leaders not really worrying about the car behind and just trying to set down those qualifying lap times to try to pull away. Through there, you see Jesse, he stays at the bottom middle all the way through. I was just about to say, I haven't really seen many guys just run one lane through the entire corner, but just as I was about to say that, Jesse ran the bottom middle through 1 and 2 last time around. And one thing that can do, you saw there, Jesse ran a little higher into 3. One thing if you have one lap where you run a little bit different line than you usually do, that can throw off your whole groove for a couple laps. And now we're seeing Jesse's running a lot higher than we've been. And that could really throw off his concentration trying to get back into the groove he was running. And if that affects him, Bill Baldwin is right there in second place to take advantage. On lap 180 now. 45 minutes into this event, it has flown by from my standpoint. Part of that might be that I'm a guy who likes oval racing. I'm used to 3.5 hour long oval racing. So an hour is nothing to me when I'm watching a race like this. And Bill Baldwin is in for maybe his last stop. There might be another one before the end of the race. Probably, no. Well, it'll be close, but Bill Baldwin, regardless, is in from second place. Here comes Jesse Carlson a lap later. Question is, how will fuel play a factor in these pit stops, and will it allow maybe Bill Baldwin to jump Jesse? There's Jesse Carlson getting his car filled up as Bill Baldwin leaves the pit lane. Obviously a lap behind. He's going to have to loop around the circuit and try to pass Jesse Carlson. It was quite a gap between the two when they pit, but a good outlap. There's Jesse leaving the pit lane, and there's Bill Baldwin. Bill Baldwin has jumped Jesse Carlson back for the race lead with less than 15 minutes to go. Bill Baldwin had a shorter pit stop or maybe a better pit entry. Anything counts. But Bill Baldwin has taken the race lead back from Jesse Carlson and will fight for his life not to give it up. Bill Baldwin looking for his first win of the season. Jesse Carlson looking for his first podium of his career. But what a way to get your first podium with your first win of your career. And that is what Jesse's looking for. Bill Baldwin, it's about the championship and finally really asserting himself as a contender. And for Jesse, it's just proven his point as a driver to worry about in this series. And it's really going to come down between these two unless something happens between them. JRB almost an entire lap behind in third. I mean, it has been an absolute masterclass. Pac-Man fell back, way back at some point. Obviously, he was in this top three battle, but he's now way back in fifth. Probably close to a lap down, if not already a lap down. So at this point, it's really between these two on screen, Bill Baldwin and Jesse Carlson, and Jesse has really closed up that last lap on Bill. 12 minutes to go now. Do we see Jesse go for the move early? My question is there another pit stop? Because if there is, then anything this stint might not even matter. Bill is going to block for his life. Jesse's going to attack for his life. Battle for the race lead with less than 12 minutes to go. Bill Baldwin running that line. He's been running basically all night, high to low. Jesse doesn't run as high, but he does swoop pretty low. There, it looks like he's going to try to follow right in Bill's tracks, and he's dropped back a little bit over the last few laps. Starting lap 193, coming up on just 11 minutes to go here in the Northern-Isle Grand Prix. Bill Baldwin leads just in front of Jesse Carlson. And this is going to be a finish to remember, regardless of who comes out on top. Toyota versus Corvette. All season, it's been only Corvettes on the podium. And Toyota has been on top of the world in regards to this series. But what a way to break that streak with a win, should this Chevy Corvette get on the top step. Jesse Carlson's really got to wheel it around a Gran Turismo Super GT champion, runner-up in this series last season, and Jesse dropped back a little bit. I think he hit the wall quite a bit, and that really knocked him back a little bit. Coming up on just 10 minutes to go. Bill Baldwin has a decent gap now. Back to Jesse. Jesse doesn't have those ghost cars in his way now, though, so a little bit of a distraction gone. And now he can really just focus on Bill. Bill doesn't get as low as we've seen him do before. And that might mess up his groove. He runs really high through most of the corner that time around. He's not getting quite as low as he once was. And Jesse, I think, is closing right back up. I think as the tires wear, running the high line is definitely a more favorable option. But when you're racing for the lead with less than 10 minutes to go, you're not really worrying about tires. You just want to get away from everybody around you and just let whatever happens to the tires happen. Should these guys have to pit again, which I really feel like they do, then worrying about tires right now isn't the main priority, probably. Especially between these two. It's just about getting in front of the other or staying in front of the other and hoping that when you do pit, that it stays that way. Starting lap 2:04 now. Jesse Carlson has closed up over the last couple laps to the back bumper of Bill Baldwin. And this is going to be something you're going to remember forever. In 1 and 2 for the 205th time. Bill Baldwin way up high, hits the wall and got stuck to the wall and had to stay up high through turn 4. And that can mess up his concentration, mess up his groove that he was running. Doesn't look like it'll affect him too much. The gap might have grown a little bit back to Jesse, as a matter of fact. Jesse might have backed up to save his stuff a little bit and set up another attack. And yes, here comes Bill Baldwin. This will be his last stop of the night. Jesse Carlson going to have to put down the lap of his life so that when he pits, he comes back out in front of Bill. Bill Baldwin's got to pray that he has the quickest stop ever. Here we go. Your 2 leaders. We'll watch JRB do a lap. He was running 4th. Or, no, he was running 3rd, sorry. He's the final podium runner. He comes in for his final stop. Second boy, who started 2nd in his first career start. He runs 4th yet to make his final stop. Back up front, here's Bill Baldwin, leaving pit lane. He's going to loop back around and put down the lap of his life to take the race lead. And Jesse Carlson has just had the quickest stop ever. I believe he's short-fueled yet again. And he is a full set of corners ahead of Bill Baldwin. With just less than 7 minutes to go, Jesse Carlson has gapped Bill Baldwin in the pit lane. That was that long pit stop earlier in the race that dropped him back outside the top 5, paying off. He drove back up through the field, made up for that time, so that when these final couple stops came around, he didn't have to wait as long in the pits. And with that, Jesse Carlson has taken a convincing race lead with coming up to just 6 minutes to go. Now all he's got to do is just run a couple of laps. Just keep the car facing the right way, keep it off the wall, and he will be a NOSSCAR GT Cup Series race winner. The veteran versus the rookie. And rookie right now coming out on top. Pac-Man has fought his way back up to 4th. Obviously, he was right in the middle of this battle for the lead. Had some sort of issue in the pits or leaving the pits, and he fell at the tail end of the top 5. He's now back up to 4th. Definitely a struggle of a night for him. JRB, who was also running up in the lead earlier on, he fell back quite a bit as well. He now runs 3rd, back up on the podium, looking for his 2nd podium of the year. Meanwhile, Pac-Man, back to him real quick. Should he not get back on the podium, this is the first time this season he will not be on the podium. So just some food for that there. Percussive has made his way back up to 5th. Early on, he fell outside the top 5, but he's back up to 5th. Rob Oglesby having a really nice run in 6th in his Hyundai. Obviously an highly experienced oval racer here in NOSSCAR. And it is showing. Second Boy in 7th. His debut of the series. Started 2nd. It was running pretty good, but as the race has gone on, has just fallen down the order a little bit. That is Second Boy in 7th. And his fellow competitor, who's also making his first career start, Cho Khalil in the number 5 Corvette, he is back to 8th. He started 4th. So the two newcomers looked fresh, looked good, but as the race has gone on, have just kind of dropped back. Still very solid nights for those two guys. Trent Crunch championship leader, damage limitation, as I said earlier. Just get through tonight and get as many points as physically possible. It's not his discipline, not his style of racing, but still a top 10 is something. And he's definitely got to be rooting for Jesse Carlson right now up in the lead. Thomas Gayer, oval racer, he runs 10th in the Ford Mustang Ataxia, 11th. Justin Harrington, disappointing night, in 12th. And Rob Lohman Sr., who wrecked hard early on or something, runs in 13th. Jesse Carlson back up front. Has a whole straightaway gap back to Bill Baldwin. And we are down to, coming up to just 3 minutes left. And I mean, it'll take some really, really bad luck for Jesse to drop out. Do remember though, last week, just a couple minutes left, dropped out of the race while running 5th. And he has got to be hoping, I mean, he has got to be hoping with everything he has that does not repeat this week while running in the lead. Has just 3 top 5s on the season and in his career. Has never stood on the podium. Has gotten close, but has never been on the podium. But tonight, did a big strategy gamble. Not the first time this season he's done it. And it has paid off in the long run. 2.5 minutes to go at Northern-Isle. Jesse Carlson leads the way in front of Bill Baldwin and JRB. Coming up to lap 229. My guess earlier was north of 200. That was right. Then I made another guess, 250. I don't think that's going to happen, but it'll be close. I'm rooting for Jesse Carlson to get all these laps out of the way so that my estimation's correct, because that just makes me look good. And right now, I'm certain that he's pushing, but not too hard. You gotta find, when you have a race lead this late, you gotta push. You can't get complacent, but you gotta find that limit so that you don't hit the wall and lose all that time. It is the worst feeling in the world, being in the lead, late in the race, and just making a mistake and just throwing it away. It is the worst feeling, and Jesse Carlson has got to avoid making any sort of mistake. He is almost an entire half a lap ahead, though, of Bill Baldwin. I mean, it would take probably a couple mistakes at this point, as we are nearing just 1 minute to go here at Northern-Isle. Jesse Carlson will take another lap, lap 234, less than a minute to go now. Probably another 3 laps, that's my guess. 3 or 4, just depends on when he crosses the line. As Jesse Carlson, race leader, exits turn 2, Bill Baldwin starts the next lap. So it's a gap. It would take a big mistake for Jesse Carlson to lose this race. And let me tell you, has he earned it? And it has not been just tonight that he earned it. He has really shown so many flashes all season of greatness. Just hasn't pulled through, has had a lot of bad luck. But Jesse Carlson coming around on what is likely his final lap. It's not just his first career podium, it's his first career win in the NOSSCAR GT Cup Series. Jesse Carlson is going to win the Northern-Isle Grand Prix. Does a donut as he crosses the line, wins it in style. Shout out to my voice crack. Bill Baldwin takes second, JRB third, Pac-Man fourth, Percussive fifth, Rob Oglesby crosses the line sixth, Sikkim Boy seventh, Chocolate eighth, Trenton Crunch championship leader. Very tough night in ninth, but he will bounce back with a vengeance, I'm sure. Thomas Gayer 10th, Ataxia 11th, Justin Harrington 12th, and Rob Lohman Sr. 13th. An incredible, incredible race at Northern-Isle, and we hope you join us next week at the Red Bull Ring in Austria.